Hello everyone, and you're welcome to our cartoon drawing and rendering course using Affinity Designer. I'm so excited to be here, so let's begin. So if you have a copy of Affinity Designer, just open it up and we'll be good to go. So to begin a project, I'll go to File and I'll click New. And what I'd like to do is to set some basic things. Now these are my presets, but I can switch over to Print and pick, say, the A4 size. Now this is going to be 210 mm by 297. I'll just switch this over and click on pixels. So this is actually a very nice high resolution on its own, so I'll just leave it there. But if we want, we can click on this plus custom to create a custom preset. And what I'll do on the color format, I'll set this to CMYK. This is going to ensure that your colors are set up to prepared for printing. And with that, let's just click on this custom so you can actually see it appears here as unnamed. So what we can do is to this cannot add a preset that already exists. So click on this preset, right click and say rename preset. Let's just call this our A4 custom. And we'll just hit OK. So here, if we just double click on A4 custom, we're actually going to have the nice A4 custom paper setup, and it's just straightforward. So what I'll do is to quickly go over the interface. It's nothing really pretty much to look at, but first I'll just try to restart the window, the view. So go to view, and here where it says studio, go to the last one that says reset studio, and Affinity Designer should look just like mine right now. There's a little bit of house cleaning. We can go to edit, preferences, and here where it says performance, you might want to increase your RAM limit. So I think I have about 8 gig, and then the renderer, you can choose a very nice renderer. So I have a NVIDIA graphics card. So you actually want to take advantage of that, and that's just it. So for the RAM, I don't want to set everything to 100% because I'm recording this right here. So other things you can do in your preferences is to set things like your keyboard shortcuts if you want, and apart from that, you can do a lot of things like change your appearance. So here under the user interface, you can bump up this gray level for the background. You can do things like change everything to a light theme, just like you have your little 90s software. But here, we just want to make things easy on our eyes, and we'll just set everything here. So you can reset the program for all these effects changes to be updated. So the first thing I want to do is to create a character sketch. And to do that, we'll go over here and click on brushes. Click this drop down and go to pencils. So I'll just want to select a nice let's try a 2B for closed curves, and I'll just click on that pencil. So if I go over here, I can't use it yet. I'll need to create a persona for the pixels. So right here at the top left, I'm on designer persona. I'll click this to switch over to pixel persona. So this persona is for working with, pixel art, or doing creating with brushes, just like you have in traditional software. So now I have this persona, what I'll do is to add a nice little background. So over here, I'll click on to add a pixel layer. I'll double click this layer, call that VG for background, and I'll go to the fill tool, and over here on the color, I'll just look for a nice warm color like that, and I'll click this just to fill this background, and I'll lock this layer by pressing the padlock icon. So next, I'll click the pixel layer again. I'll call this sketch, and to draw characters, I'll just select this bluish color, I really like using blue. I don't know why, but you can select this blue color, and we'll go over here and switch over to the brush tool and start testing out our brush. So we actually see it's quite small, so I'll just undo that and use these square keys to increase the brush size to about 14 or 16 and just begin to test this out. So I believe this value isn't really a bad value, so I'll just set that to 10 pixels and let's just test it out and see for 10 pixels. So I like I'll just set that to 13 like so and just test it out. So you just test out and see which works best for you. So we can select all this. Oops. So go to the select tool, select everything and just delete and press escape to get out of the select tool. Another way to delete is once you have a few rough lines and sketches like that, you can use the eraser tool and make it quite large and not very large. Okay, I think that's too much. And you can use the eraser tool to also erase as well, and you can select everything. So that's it. So let's begin by sketching our character. So at this point you can use a reference or you can import a sketch. In the other parts of the course I'll be importing some of the sketches I've made already, but this time around I'm just going to quickly sketch out a character like that. So this is my entire sheet, so I'll just start drawing an ellipse shape, like an egg shape here. I'm not concerned whether it's perfect, and you can actually see it's lopsided a bit, so I'm just slightly pressing to have that shape. And I don't like this one, so what I'll do is to just quickly erase that, and what I want to do is to kind of like create a squarey roundish kind of face, right? So it doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, you have your eraser and it's your friend. So to create a square kind of soft round face, I'll first focus on creating a nice little square first, like that. And I believe I'm taking up too much space here. So again, like I said, it's actually an iterative process. It doesn't have to be, you know, super perfect. You just keep doing it over and over again and not worrying too much. So I'll go over to this blue and I'll just start, you know, thinking about a nice roundish looking face like that. There, I think this is fine. So I'll just stick to this one here. Now around the chin, so I'm thinking about, I want to create a female Toon character like that. So around the chin here, I'm just trying to make sure the head kind of like matches, follows. And let's just look at the neck. So let's try to do a feminine kind of neck. So already that's looking tilted, but it's not a problem. And then let's try to draw a nice little shoulder. Now the issue, let's just zoom out a bit. So if we can't see some of our tools, we'll go to window view and we'll go to the navigator. Okay, sorry, it's actually here. Oh, my bad. So you can actually see what's happening. We're taking up the entire space. We don't want that, so we'll just select like so. And we can switch over to the persona and then kind of like drag this and put her in the middle like that, so we can have an extra space for the hair and shoulders. And I'll switch to personas. When I went there, I clicked on the move tool, so I could just go back here and press escape. And if we get back to our sketch layer, if we could just zoom in a little bit, you can actually see we have our character centered out here and we're not really worried about that. So I'll just put that by the way. So for the shoulder, I'll just try to mimic and create some nice area around here. So here will be quite curvy for shoulder. So add a little curve here. And I'll just drag the arms going down here. And then we'll just set a little body like that. and I'll just leave it like that. So next we'll start thinking about the facial features. So I'll just try to indicate some of that curves here. Like that. Neck, head. So let's see some of the facial features. So for this, I just like to use a little bit of, kind of like division lines to create a nice little guide where we have all the elements of the face. So the lips are going to be here. So I'll just quickly create the lips. And that's the lower lip. I'll just create the upper lip like that. And then for the nose, it's going to be just slightly above the upper lip. So I'll just create a nice little nose like that. So those are nostrils. And I'll just add a little points here just to indicate the nose. And then for the eyes, so these are going to be our brow lines. So the character's brow is going to be here. So let's just quickly sketch out a nice little brow. So sketch out a brow right here. And then our eyes are going to be definitely between the brows, like so. So I'll just give her large oval eyes like that. And we'll just add a little thickness here to indicate some lashes. And we'll make nice little large pupils like that. We'll have a little highlight around here. So I'll just shade some of this. And I'll just try to do the same thing here. So there's a problem with this eye. So let's go ahead and erase this section. And what we can do is to use guides to help us. So we can drag a guide down. So I'll switch over to Designer and then drag a line down here and switch over to our pixel persona and slightly zoom in around the eye region so we can quickly sketch the eye, making sure that we are considering those little proportions. I'll switch back to the persona and drag this for the top so I have an idea where the eye is supposed to be, so we don't mess it up. So I'll switch over to the brush tool and just try to draw that eye within the confines of that space right there. Again, I'll use the eraser and just drag it down a little bit and just slightly, whoops. So I actually went back and was drawing on the background layer. You actually see that? So I was drawing on the background layer. So what I can do is to select this region on the background and then fill it with this color. So this color, and then fill the selection like that. And it doesn't want to go away. So I'll just go back to my sketch. And what we can do is to actually go back to that background. So I'll hide the sketch and then use the brush tool, select the same color, make it slightly big, and then kind of paint over. Oops, I'm on the wrong tool, brush tool. I don't want it to be that blue. I want to select this color and then switch over to the brush tool, press X, and then use this to paint over. So that's one way we can restore that error we made. And let's get back to our sketch and continue so that we can create our nice little character. So here I'll set it to, I believe it was around 14 or 13 pixels. It's no problem. So let's just try doing that again. So I'll select this blue color, back to our brush, and let's just continue. All right, like that. And let's see over here. So the reason why I am putting these lines is to make sure that at least I'm having some consistency. And although what we can do is we can create one eye and then just how do I put it, we'll just flip that eye so that we'll have a perfect nice looking eye. So here we'll just darken this section just to indicate that feminine lashes, like that. Just add a little more lashes. And I didn't do justice to these lashes, really sorry. Like that. And along the edge here, we could just darken just this edge and darken just this edge, like that. And here we'll just have an ear. So we'll just place the ear around this region, like that, like so. And we'll just add a little bit of the edges of that ear, nothing too fancy. I'm gonna add a nice little earring, like that. And we can do the same here. So I'm just eyeballing it now, just making sure we have that ear shape. And we'll just quickly crop this, like that, and I'll just see if I can make the nose a little like that. There. So here, next, let's look at the hairline. So I'll just try to make this shape more curvy, especially along the edge here. I'll just try to make this slightly curvy. And then she has a round chin. So I just want to indicate that roundness around the chin. So let's zoom out a little bit because we're a bit, we want to get an overall view of the picture. So I know slightly darken this a little bit. This one as well. And she's going to have black pupils. There's a little reflection here. So like that. So for the hair, let's give her, we can try experimenting with the hair. So I'll just call this hair. And next I'll lock the sketch layer. So let's try some afros. So let's just try doing this. So she has some afro puffs, and then maybe she's wearing a nice little kind of like scarf right here. And then the afro is going to go behind like that. So we might not need these edges I just created here. It might look super weird. So she has some nice little afro. So that's hairstyle 1. So let's quickly create another one on top of it. So I'll just add another pixel, turn off this one, lock the hair, and I believe, oh, and there you go. I actually made a mistake and added the hair on this layer. So I'll just quickly go over my history, and let's step over here. So you can use the history to go back to, so let's go back to our layers. So this is our sketch. I'll make sure I'll lock this guy and lock the pixel. So let's go to the layer we called hair. And for the hair, let's do that afro puff we had initially. So here, and then we'll add that little scarf in front of the head, like that. And we'll just add a little scarfy edges, like that. So just a regular black afro. So that's our hair 1. So let's lock this layer by hitting the padlock icon, and let's hit this pixel. Now for the navigator, I'll just drag it and float it, and I'll just center my drawing because sometimes it's distracting. And also if you want to clear these guides, so we can go to view, and turn off show guides, and the guides are gone. Just like that, they're gone. Also, if you want to change this and you don't like the background color, I'll just unlock this. We can always select any kind of like warm tone and then go over to the fill, make sure we're on that, and then we can fill it like so. So we've just brightened that up a little bit. I'll just desaturate that. Let's still desaturate this a little bit. So you can always change your background color. It's not you mustn't have it on that. So let's get back to our hair 2. So I'll double click that and I'll call it hair 2. Sorry, let me just check my Camtasia real quick to make sure we are indeed recording. So yes, we are actually recording. Sometimes it's actually a terrible thing to lose your work. So again, let's press Ctrl S to save. And I'll just call this, let's call it Girl Toon. Like that. And there's really no expression on this character yet. There's no defined expression yet. So I'll go back to the pencil tool and go to the eyedropper tool and sample this blue color. Now you can use any other color. I just like using blue. So what I'll do is to hide the hair 2 one layer and then go to hair 2, and let's see what we can do here. So we can create a nice little cyberpunky kind of hair like that, and we could just make it a cyberpunky short kind of hair. And then over here we can let's see, we can just go over here and bump that till it becomes quite. Now this is where the skull is, so the hair shouldn't really fly like that. So I'll just go ahead and quickly erase this and then get back to the pencil and quickly just sketch that hair. So I don't want it to be too far away from the skull, like that. So front here, and then we'll have the back hair. So I'll just do this and then indicate where the back hair is. Like that. So another one, and I believe this cut is too high, so I'll just quickly edit this cut here, not cup, cut, and we can just draw a little, make it slightly not too crazy like that. So this is going to be the front of the hair, very short hair. Nothing over here, and I'll just add some of this slight partition here, and we can even add some hair sheen like that. Just let it shine on through, just let it shine. So something like that. So we can actually see the second hair, and let's turn that off and do a final hair before we jump to inking this character. Now I actually noticed the ear looks weird. This ear is supposed to be slightly bigger, right? So if we wanted to keep it in proportion to the other ear, so it's supposed to be slightly bigger, because I just eyeballed that. So here I'll just clean this additional edge right here, and it's looking super massive. But no problem, it's super cool. We can do a big ear or a small ear. So I'll just lock that layer and get back to creating our third hair. So this is our hair 2, this is our hair 1. So let's do our hair 3. So I'll click on this and I'll call this oh, I think I created that layer already, because this is our hair 1, hair 2, and I'll just call this hair 3. Hair 3, hit the return key, and let's get rid of this. We don't need any confusion, and let's make sure we lock hair 2. If you're not using it, always make sure to lock your hair layers. And what I'll do is to try to do some cornrows like so, like that. So I'm just trying to eyeball how it's going to look, like that. Like that, like so. Nothing too super fancy. And we'll just add some of that, what ladies call baby hair, you know, like just doing some of that baby hair. And yeah, so this is our hair tree. So we're going to pick one. So I'll just lock this one. So we have hair tree, and I can actually emphasize it by quickly just, you know, darkening it a bit. So your sketches don't need to be necessarily very dark like that. You don't need to make your sketches very dark, but this is just for emphasis. So I'll just lay out that emphasis, and why not? And then we'll just add one more here, and then at the back we could just say so the hair is coming down like so. So maybe she has like two styles, and like that. So some of that hair is coming down here. So I'll let you decide which one you want to pick and work with. So, and then we'll just add some of those little partitions here, like that. So this looks like a little bit of braids in there, like that. And again, reference is extremely important. So you can look at the thousands of hairstyles, thousands and thousands of hairstyles. You can always look at that and see how you want to, you know, add those hairstyles. So that's our third hair. So we have this initially, we have the Afro puff, then we have the cyberpunky kind of hair, and then we have the plaits or braids. So I think I like this this one. Yeah, I like this one. It's really modern, looks kind of cyberpunky. But what I want to do is to let me fix this, because it looks very short, right? It looks very short. So what I'll do is just erase these edges, and I want to push this to make it kind of quite closer to the shoulder. So again, you're actually seeing that we're not really limiting ourselves to how, you know, it looks like. We just want to say, hey, this is what we want, and then we can just even fan this out a bit, and let's create this design like that. So now that we've done that, what we want to do is to kind of think about where we want the shade on this character to be, and this is where I switch over. So I'm just going to lock this group and save. So this is where I switch over to red. So I'll go back to my main. Whoops. So I believe I accidentally deleted that one. So I'll just go to open recent girl Toon. So sorry, I didn't delete it. I believe it was masked under. So we'll just bring it out and then put it underneath so we can have that. So I accidentally masked the background layer. I didn't delete anything. So what we can do now is to see where we can have the shadows and lights for this character, and this is where I switch over to red. So I'll just switch the brush to red and just think about where I can add those shadows. So here underneath the so I'll just undo that, and I'll create a new layer. I'll lock the sketch because we don't want to interfere with the sketch, and I'll create a new layer called the shades, like so. We can always do this later, but I just like doing it right now. So the light source is going to be coming from here. I'll just draw a nice little lamp. So this is where our light source is coming from. So the light source comes from here, and this hair over here will have some shadow being cast right here at the side of the face. So we have shadows actually right here. we'll have some of that shadow sipping through this edge of the face like that, and we'll have some of this here. We're definitely going to have shadows underneath the neck, so I'll just quickly emphasize that. You can use red or black, but I just like using red to emphasize this. And then for this ear, since it's hidden from us, we'll have a little shadow around this ear as well. Now for the hands around the armpit, I'll just do this to indicate we'll have a little shadow here, and then here as well we'll just have a little shadow falling down here. So we can even add accessories if we want. So I'll go back to the sketch, select that blue using the paint bucket, and I'll unlock the sketch. Make sure I'm on the sketch by selecting it. Again, you can float the layers in case you just want to have everything, you know, like that. That's awesome. So on the sketch, I'll just add a little, oops. So select blue, go back to our pencil, and we can just draw a nice little heart necklace like that. Yeah, I think it makes it really nice to have a nice little heart necklace like that. That's super awesome. So I believe we can call this, again, these shoulders seem to be a bit tensed like that. I actually want it to be slightly like that, a bit more relaxed. Not, it seems a bit tense if we make the shoulder really raised. So again, these things, these corrections, they always come after we're working, and maybe later on we can say, hey, you know, we want to bring the tension back at the shoulders, but that's just how that's how we roll. So we'll just erase some of these lines. So, and with that, we can actually see we have a very basic character with some shading around the, let's go back to our shades, and let's switch over to the red color we're using, or we can even switch to any other color. It's totally fine. And for the hair, we are going to have a little shading around these edges. Sorry, let's go back to shades and make sure we're on brush, not eraser. And let's add a little shading for the hair right here along these edges like that, just to make it more interesting and not boring. And we'll add little shades around here. That shouldn't come there, but I don't care. I'm just doing that. And this is going to be our the back of the hair. And so all this section here, I'll just use a dark color to indicate. So all this section here is going to be the back of the hair. So I'll just draw this and change this to indicate it's the back of the hair. And if you want, you can now go with black back to your sketch layer and begin to do some cleanup on another layer to indicate where the shape of the face is, how the shape of the face is, just to make your sketch look kind of like awesome like that. Yeah, so she has a nice little round face. You can emphasize, you know, areas you feel will be difficult for you when you want to start creating your vectors. Yeah, I'll just place this down here because it's cartoony. And we can even add a little bit of effects with the nose like that. Okay, that was uncalled for, but yeah, I'll just go back to the history and get rid of those few brush strokes I created. Maybe I'll even leave them. That's totally fine. But then we'll have a little shade underneath the nose. So if we want, we can even do this. Just indicate where we'll have some shading underneath the nose. And for the lips, we'll actually shade this part of the lips. And then over here, we'll just add some little darks under, and we can have a little highlight here and here. Basically just indicate how this is going to look. But then again, I'll just get rid of that because I want to concentrate more on the artwork, right? So we can just add these little subtle details. And remember, you can always, you know, keep doing that. But I'll just go back and push this back a little bit. like so, till when we had the shoulders fixed. Yeah, I think this is fine. So I'll just save it from here, and I'll save it as our sketch. So I'll just call it Toon Girl 01, Toon Girl Sketch 01. All right, so let's save, which we've already saved. And in our next lesson, what we're going to do is to start creating the vector art for this character.